We leave the door open in case there's a need for a quick exit, especially after she mentions it's only by chance she has been able to open the door last time. We can't waste time finding the switch again on the occasion something goes horribly wrong. Now you're thinking, Ash. There's bound to be, with me feeling this high-strung intense. I'm not even sure why I thought it'll be a good idea to enlist McCullough's help. Just want to not be alone. Although she has been quite helpful so far, I can't shake off the horrible feeling something is going to happen to her if she stays with me. Even if I'm her safest bet if she wants to get out of this place alive.
You really believe that, don't you?
Uh-oh.
Did you say something?
Did you sound like three people talking that all sound kind of like my friends, but more ghostly? McCullough pauses mid-step, turning to me confused.
I didn't.
You sure? I just heard...
Don't you think I'll be the first person who'll know? Look, the ladder leading to the kitchen's up ahead. You might want to hurry. I just want to be done with this place.
See? You dragged another one.
This time I'm sure. There's really a voice. Well, voices. Despite the look of protest McCullough shoots me, I find myself stopping and looking for it, searching the immediate surrounding for the familiar form of the woman. I don't even want to venture too far from where I'm standing. Just an arm's length away from me, mirror shards litter the floor. Oh yeah, the mirror. And right on the biggest fragments. Oh boy. They speak. Oh, that's cool looking, though. The mouths of all of his friends and of the woman. That is really neat. All singing the same mocking tune against my ears, letting it echo throughout the small undercroft. Murmurs and laughters, jeering, scoffing, deriding, lacing venom into every crevice in my head. Taunting me.
You dragged another person into this, Ashton.
Into another one of your silly little problems.
All because you can't fix them on your own. You really haven't changed, have you? Some hero you are.
Useless.
Pathetic.
You're wrong.
My mistake lies in this first instance I've answered. Yeah, Marianne, you better snap this boy out of it. The very second denial has slipped from my mouth, their words have also seeped into my heart, allowing it to prod at and rouse my temper. Despite knowing they are merely doing this to goad me, each word, each syllable trickle into me, spurring the guilt I hope I've long buried.
Are we? Or is that simply what you've been telling yourself all this time? Something to make yourself feel better, perhaps?
You're the one who took that letter off Isabella's hand that day. You're the one who opened it.
Ooh, snap.
How does it feel, I wonder, to know you're responsible for all of this?
What do you think I'm doing? Why do you think I'm still trying to fix this?
Oh, but you can't. It's already too late, and you know that. You know all of this is futile.
Just face it, Ashton Frey. You're a failure, and they are the ones who have to pay for it.
This ghost is very talented at mimicking voices.
A badge and a gun, and you still can't protect your own friends. Can't even solve a case for an old man.
Can't even bring Luke right to justice.
Can't even keep his own family together.
Oof. I'm just thinking now, too, this scene is going to be rough. I assume we're going to get this scene multiple times. But this will be really rough when all his friends have died. And they're like, you killed me, Ashton Frey. It's all your fault.
No wonder they left you. Before you do the same thing to them.
Mom and Dad are better off without little old you, aren't they? It's a good thing they had the sense.
Pitiful, isn't it? Some detective you are. Some friend you are. Some son you are. You might as well just throw that rank away. You're no use to people either way.
Shut it!
I hate this. I hate how this monster can easily get through to me. Yeah, she knows, like, all your deepest fears and worries. She got Marianne really good, too. Every weakness, every insecurity, it knows. To hear it said in my friend's voice, even more so. But what I hate above all of it is...
You know it's true, though.
All of it. It's why all you can do is tell us to shut up. You don't want to hear a single word, because you're already aware of it. You can't even admit it to yourself. Who's the coward now?
But no matter how hard you try, you're not gonna be able to save anyone.
Shut it! Not a single word anymore.
Marianne, give him a punch across the face. Knock him out of it.
In the end, your own incompetence will eventually lead to the deaths of everyone you care about.
There it is. There's the story update. It's because they're alive right now. If they were dead, they'd be like, "You're the reason we died." It laughs, sharp and piercing. At its sound, something in me snaps. A rage hastily unfurling, red filling my vision. And the next thing I know, I'm raising my hand and cutting myself on glass. Something grabs at my wrist, followed by a buzz as another voice breaks through the haze.
Don't listen to it!
Ah! She realizes what's happening. Interesting. So, Marianne was here too, this time. Wonder what would happen if she wasn't here. The fog from my mind lifts. Every sound, every noise returns to me, flooding my every senses. All at once, there is this deafening silence. Slowly, I become aware of my surroundings. Bottles of wine, barrels of liquor, the faint old scent of death and decay somewhere, and a hand holding onto my wrist as if to keep me from hurting myself. In my hands, a shard. Blood drips from where it has cut my palm, trailing down my wrist until it disappears behind my sleeve. Ow. Not too deep, negligible even. There is a pain, however, a different kind. An ache somewhere else that stems not from the wound, but where every single word is hit. Oh dear, she's seen some things. When I glance up at McCullough, she merely stares at me with wide, horrified eyes.
Don't listen to it! No matter what happens, don't do what it says! It's how it gets us.
My grip on the shard falters, but only after I nod and drop it entirely does she release her grip. Afterwards, she simply steps back and looks away, hugging her arms closer to herself. She breathes a sigh, heavy. Perhaps weighted with her own guilt. What this monster might have used against her.
Come on, we're getting close.
Thank you, Marianne. Good old Irish lass, keeping us safe. There they are. Before he could go deeper into the wine cellar, Ashton began to hear voices coming from mirror the shards on the floor, mocking him for his failures. Though before he could do anything rash, Marianne stopped him. Belatedly, he realized he had picked up a broken mirror shard. And who knows what would have happened. She walks off without another comment, but there's worry in her as she gives the fragments one last glimpse. On the ground, they lie lifeless now. No more voices, no more insults. But even as I walk away, one whispered taunt continues to ring in my ears.
It's useless, Ashton Frey.
You know nothing, Ashton Frey.
You are going to die.
And you are going to die alone.
Dang, Zach, you don't want to come after me like that. A fear. One that has been long kept in the darkest place in my heart. One that a small part of me wishes for. Ugh. Got too real. The trapdoor swings open without much fuss, thankfully. It isn't even locked. That's suspicious. Probably left open for when Wright asks for some midnight snack. I make sure the coast is clear, of course, before I pull myself and help McCullough up. The butler of theirs is nowhere to be seen, and it sounds like it's thundering outside. He's probably sleeping, attending to his master, or doing some extra late-night work before tuning in for the night. Meanwhile, Wright won't touch anything to do with menial chores. Not even with a 10-foot pole. It's next to impossible for him to linger here. No servants. No anyone. And just as easy as that, we're in. Gently I close the hatch. If things go well, the same path will be our way out. If our luck doesn't hold... That's not an option now, is it? I have people waiting for me. I really don't want to think what might happen. Sometimes it's best if we simply revel in the little victories. They're great blessings when everything else is going against you. And in a place like this fraught with unknown dangers, it's a feeling that lasts only but a second. Suddenly a sob. ringing out from some distant part of the house, echoing through its empty halls. Beside me, slumped on the ground, pale and breathing heavily, McCullough immediately tenses. Her eyes goes wide, and she grips the side of the counter with a force that might be enough to crack it if only she has the strength. As it is, she can barely stand. She hasn't fully recovered. Makes sense of the 3 or more days without proper food or water. And it's this weakness that puts the fear in her eyes. She's aware. If something happens, if there's a need to run, she won't be able to. She's a liability at this point. While we're in the kitchen, eat something.
Holmes, I really don't think going any further is a good idea.
Definitely not for you. You stay here, drink, eat, or actually grab stuff and get out of here. Just go.
Look at this place. Everything seems fine. Nothing's off. Maybe we should just go? I really don't like the sound of that.
You really don't have to come with me. Just until the kitchen, yeah?
Are we not in the kitchen?
We're already here.
Yeah.
You've done your part. From here on, I'm going on my own.
Yes, I said that, but...
Can you even stand?
She doesn't answer.
You'll only be putting yourself in more danger if you follow after me. You have an easy way out of here. Stay here. Once you're okay, I need you to get yourself out of this place.
What? I'm not going to leave you!
Aw, that's nice of you.
Well, I'm not taking you with me either, lady. So it's here or out there.
You really are mad, aren't you?
Probably all will be, if no one fixes this little curse problem we have.
You think you'll find something in here? This is just a mansion, for God's sake!
You went down to a cellar to talk to an old lover of yours in a mirror, so don't talk to me about what's sensible.
Maybe. It's worth a shot. Besides, if what we're hearing right now says anything, I'd say scumbags.
Who?
Right. He might be knee-deep in trouble and he has no idea about it.
McCullough still appears as if she's about to argue. So instead of more words, I unholster my taser and hand it to her. Oh boy, we're probably gonna need that in a few minutes, aren't we? Look at it. Look at it. A standard issue for every member of Luxburn Police Force, but it shouldn't take a genius to know how to aim and fire one. Even Isabella may just be able to use it without training. Yet Miss Interior Designer Extraordinaire stares at it as if I just handed her something particularly nasty.
Listen, you want to wait? Fine. I'm leaving this with you. But if I don't come back here within 15 minutes, I want you to backtrack and get the hell out of here.
Use that on the ghost if you gotta.
Are you daft, Holmes? I already told you!
In case something goes wrong, I need someone who can tell people what's going on. Who can tell my friends what might have happened here. They're at the crawl. You know the place, right?
I trail off, letting the meaning of my words hang in the air. I want to be optimistic about this. Really. However, I'm going against something almost everyone can't quite understand. I'm just being realistic with my chances. McCullough seems to understand this as well after what I've said. Any sign of protest has already died from her tongue, and she simply looks at the taser quietly. After a moment, she just nods. And with this lovely sobbing in the background. Upon reaching the kitchen, the crying Ashton heard from outside began anew. Unwilling to risk a civilian, the detective handed Marianne his taser and advised her to leave him if he didn't return after 15 minutes, even if he himself was uncertain if he would. Beyond the walls of this room, the cries continue to grow louder, and I take it as a sign to leave. Without another word, I slip out of the door. Like a siren call, her voice beckons. Finding out who that is seems a good place to start as any. I keep to the shadows for the most part. Not that there's any need to. The entire place just feels empty. Odd when a house this big should have a large staff. You think there'll be one or two roaming about for some late-night chores, or someone seeking out whoever's creating this ruckus. There's none, however.
Shouldn't they have security posted inside as well?
Unless their security means the butler, though I doubt Scumbag's that sloppy. He loves his life more than anything. Don't we all? Probably more than his own wife. Okay, that's going a little far. And the things he's done, he's bound to make more than an enemy or two. He's also the kind who'll do anything to keep himself safe. Alive.
I wonder what he'll say when he finds out that there's something not human living with him in his own house.
Depends how many interactions he's had with said ghost, I guess. Potential dangers aside, being on my own grants me a greater degree of mobility, which I'm more comfortable with. Sure, I could have enlisted McCullough's help. Next to the people who owns this, she's probably the one who's most familiar with the mansion. But the cons of bringing her outweigh the pros. She's better off somewhere a quick exit's in sight. With no tag-along, I only have to worry about myself, watch my back. Selfish, I know.
But necessary.
In the same manner this whole plan is, no matter how idiotic going into this is. Besides, I don't really need a guide when the house's layout is fairly simple. Almost mirrored, with only a few modifications in the rooms. Although I've only been here once, I think I already have a good grasp of this place's ins and outs. As long as you can tell which is east and west, it shouldn't be hard to find my way around. After the dining room, the main foyer should be the next thing that greets me. Where the woman's cries are leading me. Honestly, after what happened outside, I'm not even sure if I should be trusting what I'm hearing. But with the whole house somehow seemingly devoid of any of its inhabitants, I'm inclined to look into this. More than surviving this curse, a huge part of this is my training speaking.
I just hope this isn't a crime scene I'm walking into.
But nothing's ever that simple, isn't it? Not when you're dealing with the supernatural. Nope. Because as soon as my feet crosses to the next room, it's not the foyer, something shifts. Oh, no, it's the foyer. It's a bloody Ew. That's a lot. That's excessive, really. In a flash, nearly without fanfare. It happens in the blink of an eye. I almost miss it. One moment there's red, and the next... Oh, that's a lot better. I'm standing alone in the foyer. For a brief instant, I pause. Glancing wildly around the place, blinking twice as if my movements will spur the vision back. Yet, nothing. No blood dripping on the walls, none trailing down the stairs or pulled on the floor, no eyes watching my every moment. Only the same cries, gradually growing in intensity the longer I dally, along with a voice.
Mother.
Desperate.
Where are you, Mother?
Pleading.
Mother, please. I don't want to be alone.
It almost sounds a little like Hana. Coming from the same direction I've heard the cries from. Upstairs. The place is not entirely empty, then. A better question now is, who? I'll use the... what's the expression I'm looking for? Gosh, my brain just blanked. I'm like, deduction. It's not deduction. Process of elimination. Thank you. Thank you, brain, finally. Use the process of elimination, Ash. Definitely not Scumbag or the Butler. Good. I've yet to see hide nor hair of them, and not knowing their whereabouts puts me on the edge. I have to be careful not to make any noise or be seen. Maybe the wife? The one can't really tell if it's her the way the walls echo her voice. Yeah, that's why I'm like, it could be. Nevertheless, it pushes me to move. Taking almost 2 steps at a time, despite the sickening feeling that something's lurking behind every great shadow, every small corner I pass. As if the house has several eyes watching my every movement. As if something alive dwells behind the walls itself. Mm-hmm. Is that just for my benefit? Okay. Thanks. So many journal entries. Now what? Upon reaching the kitchen, the crying Ashton heard from outside began anew. On alert, he continued deeper into the mansion, even if he was uncertain if he would get out of the place alive. I tried to shake it off, but the uneasy sensation has already made home at the pit of my stomach. Dread. And it only grows deeper the closer I get to her. The relative emptiness of the place doesn't help either. Neither does the harsh wind battering the windows, nor the sheets of rain pelting down the roof. For a fleeting second, I find myself wishing for Scumbag to simply show up. I don't get too far down into that train of thought. Abruptly, the cries stop, replacing it with screams?
Mother, please.
No.
She's here. She's here, Mother. She's going to take me. Mother! Mother, she's here! Help!
That can't be good. Adrenaline overcomes me in a rush. This is gonna be interesting, whatever this is. In no 2 heartbeats, my feet's already moving before any sense can catch up or doubt creeps up to me. My hand's already at the holster as I hastily set off for the far side of the hall. One alarmed footstep after another while struggling to keep that sense of panic at bay. A door lies ajar at the end and coming from the floor above.
She's going to hurt me! Help me!
I do not hesitate. Moving in, despite the lack of light, the steep stairs, or the thick layer of dust kicking up with my every step. Oh, we're going back to the attic. I pause only a moment upon reaching the top. Then, without wasting a second, I push the door open. It's Lady Charlotte. What would she be doing in the servants' quarters? And there's blood everywhere. Oliver... But she didn't strangle the servant. She burned her. So why all the blood? Huh, well this is interesting. She sits in the middle of the room, shoulders hunched, shaking. Her hands cover her face as she weeps, oblivious to my presence. It's as if she has heard neither my footsteps nor the soft creaking of the door, continuing undisturbed like I'm standing in a time far removed from her. Well, you kinda are. She doesn't even flinch when I call out to her.
Hey, are you alright?
Mother, I've done it, Mother. Take me with you, please.
Wails in the night. I've done it?
I can still hear her. She's here. Help me! Help me, please!
So she's saying help me. Belatedly, I notice the blood on her hands. If it's the same one drenching the whole attic, I'd rather not know. How the whole room has ended up like this is the least of my problems at the moment. Even the single human body doesn't have this much blood. So, bodies? The thought sends an unpleasant twinge in my stomach. Does Wright even know about this? I love this music, whatever it is, by the way. He's bad news, alright, but this is beneath him. He'll definitely balk at first sight of it. Anyone will. Yet the woman lingers here, unmoved by the sight, letting her sobs fill the room. Repeating the words over and over again like a prayer of salvation. To whom? The mess of parchment she has left on the floor? So you wrote the letter in blood? Charlotte wrote the letter? Just what the hell is happening?
Hey, lady, are you?
The rest of that question never makes it out. I don't even see it coming. Should have been more aware and on guard, really. But there's little I can do when a well-placed blow to the back of my knees makes me stumble. Okay, Ash, don't panic, but there's a journal entry, so just hold on. The sobs led Ashton to the mansion's attic. In the middle of the room, he found a woman crouched on the floor, crying. Cautiously, he approached her, but as he was about to reach out for her, someone grabs him from behind. And now the blood's gone. There's a candle lit in here. The momentum alone sends me reeling forward. It barely even registers in my head that the woman's gone and the room's as normal as it can be. Not about the pain suddenly shooting up my side when I hit the floor. I don't even get the chance to get my bearings back when a hard enough blow to the stomach causes me to buckle down and land heavily on my knees. Gasping, I fumble wildly for my gun. Although before I am able to turn, level it, and shoot, a hand grabs my wrist and twists it. Hard. A gasp. A grunt. A cry of pain slips past my mouth. The gun falls to the floor with a thunk. As soon as it lands, a foot kicks it out of my reach and it slides uselessly under the bed. Agony suddenly explodes in my chin, jerking loose a sharp cry of pain, and stars fill the edges of my vision. A brief moment of regret hits me for leaving my taser with McCullough when a piece of cloth closes around my neck. Without warning, my attacker pulls. Tight. I'm left gasping, choking, and clawing for air, blindly reaching behind me as I still try to fight him off and loosen the pressure on my neck. Except any sort of movement only causes him to pull it taut.
My, so many rats scurrying about in this mansion lately.
Johans? What is with these awesome butlers? Oh no, Johans! Wait! Wright's butler. Shit, I'm doomed.
Tell me, what did you do with the madam?
What happened to Hana? I have no idea what he's talking about. Did something happen to Hana Wright?
Let go, you asshole.
This is not the time to be insulting, Ash.
Now, Dummkopf, you're in no position to be rude.
I mean, he's right.
Last time I checked, I'm not the one breaking into other people's homes.
I mean, he's right.
Now answer my question. What did you do with the madam?
The pain rings and resonates through my already sore body. Still, I managed to write it out and spit a mutinous.
Fuck you.
Ash, why are you like this? Like, I don't know. It wasn't me.
Keep that dirty mouth babbling and you're getting a knife in the kidney. I assure you it will be more painful than this.
He really doesn't need to threaten me by now. It's all too much to bear at this point. My lungs feel like they're burning with the lack of air. Dark spots begin to fill the edges of my vision. Ever so slowly, the world around me dims. My consciousness rapidly slips away from me. And without meaning to...
Get away from him!
Bella? Hearing that voice is as if I've been doused with a bucket full of ice-cold water. Familiar. Too familiar. And more importantly, it shouldn't be here. I shouldn't be hearing it here. She shouldn't be here. Immediately, my eyes snap open. Oh my god. You got it out of Zach, didn't you, Bella? I love that you came with a rolling pin as well. That is so awesome. Oh my goodness. Girl, don't miss. Please don't hit me in the head with a taser. And right there, right on the attic's doorway, stands Isabella, of all people. A rolling pin on one hand and a standard issue police taser on the other. My taser. She must have borrowed it from McCullough. Where else could she have gotten one? I doubt she has ever used one even. Hell, the way she holds it right now, the guy can easily disarm her in one hit. But there's something in her. In her eyes. Although there's a look of fear in them and her hand shakes, she keeps the weapon trained and pointed at Scumbag's lackey, while her boy's being choked. Untrained or not, she does not plan to leave her without putting up a fight, it seems. Admirable, really, but it's just not something we need right now. I think you could need it right now. I need her to be away from here. I need her safe. But the chances of that happening grows slim with every laughter that slips from him.
Oh, this is just getting better and better. The Bratwurst won't be pleased with the number of bodies we have to dispose of today, you know.
So this is just a normal Friday evening for you then?
Tell me, how many of you are there? So I can prepare the proper number of bags.
Damn it! What the fuck is going on? Why is she here in the first place? Did she follow after me? Who else came with her? Zach? Rebecca? Are they all here? The story updates. Oh no. It's like, are they alive? Check. 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 Panic surges within me. She knows how bad the situation is, but did she really have to run in here and expose herself like that? Does she even know how to use a taser? For fuck's sake. More than worrying for my life, it's her I'm concerned about. Getting strangled, dying by choking, isn't part of the plan, but her following me here isn't either. This is why I prefer to do things alone. You would be dead right now if you were alone. This is why I'd rather be the only one to take the consequences. I don't even want to think of what this bastard might do to her after he's done with me. Though my voice comes off nearly a croak, I try to tell her as much. She has to leave. Stay far away from here and these people.
Don't! Damn it, Isabella! Get out of here! Ugh.
Another bout of pain erupts in my side, cutting off my words. A cry of agony bursts from my mouth. I can taste blood in my tongue as I heave, attempting to get in as much air despite the towel still coiled around my neck.
Ash?
You're going to lose air quickly that way, Dummkopf. Better keep it shut.
Get out. 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 Belle!
Don't be stupid! I'm not leaving you here!
That is such an evil cackle. Johann, stop. He laughs. Too cruel, too unforgiving. The way each note beats against my ears, in spite of the warmth in them, sends chills down my spine. This is a man whose hands have already been stained with blood before. Yeah. He won't hesitate.
I'd follow his advice if I were you, little girl. What could you possibly do with a toy? Just hand it over and be on your way. It'll probably be too difficult for a little girl like you to use.
There's a moment of silence. Fuck, I can barely keep my eyes open. But in the next second, though I still don't exactly understand what's happening, Isabella shouts. Oh my, late bloomer. You got this, girl? Not a cry of pain, not a yell of panic, but one that's resolute. Firm. Perhaps in a tone that's leagues fiercer than any I've heard from her before.
Try me!
Ooh.
Ashton, duck!
I can't, I'm being choked. Oh, I mean, I do. More out of instinct and desire to survive, closing my eyes before my mind can fully process what's going on. It all happens in a blur. The telltale sound of a taser being discharged resounds through the room. The air crackles. Something whizzes by, almost too close to my ear, followed by the thud of something blunt connecting solidly with another object. The next thing I know, the towel strangling me has started to loosen. Good shot, Isabella! So proud of you, girl! Look at all our journal entries. Ashton attempted to fight back, but his attacker quickly disarmed him, looping a towel around his neck and strangling him. But just when he was about to lose consciousness, a familiar voice rings in the room, and... zap. I collapse on the floor, dazed and gasping for air. From my peripheral, through the haze of blood rushing and sound slowly filtering back, the butler buckles. He spasms once. Then, without much fuss, falls face first beside me. Knocked unconscious by 50,000 volts of electricity and a fucking rolling pin. Did you hit him with the rolling pin for good measure after that? He'll be out for a while. I have no idea whether I should laugh or cry at that. Somewhere in front of me, my oxygen-deprived brain vaguely registers Isabella's form. She slumps on the floor, also breathing heavily. Right next to her trembling hands, both the taser and the rolling pin lie useless and forgotten, while the mood in the room eases. A long, gradual process of the tension lifting. For countless seconds we remain quiet, with only our short gasps and sighs to fill the silence, allowing the adrenaline ebb away and both our breathing to slow. Not a true repose by any means, but simply a brief respite. There's still the curse. We're still inside the mansion in imminent danger. We still have no idea how to fix this. Outside, the rain seems to only intensify. Lightning flashes fleetingly somewhere, white and piercing, and the sky rumbles. No rest for the wicked. I stir first, once recovered, having regained some semblance of sense and strength. Breathing still hurts, but it's bearable, as is moving, although every small motion causes a wince. There will be bruising tomorrow. I can manage. Retrieving my gun from under the bed is easy, but only with some effort I am able to drag an unconscious man to the far end of the room, snapping one end of a handcuff on his wrist while fastening the other on the bed frame. Very clever. That should keep him restrained for a few hours in case he wakes up prematurely. All through this, Isabella stays quiet. In fact, she hasn't even moved since. Her hands still shake, and taking in long draws of breath while she stares vacantly in front of her, almost as if she's in shock. Perhaps she isn't even expecting any result, spurred only by some kind of desperation. Now it's sinking in. Unfortunately, we need to get moving. We don't have time to wait for everything to register in our heads. Kneeling in front of her, I give her a light shake.
Belle, we need to go. You can't stay here.
Slowly, she turns, staring at me with wide eyes. Worry flickers briefly in them, along with something ineffable. Then, without warning, she lifts a hand. She's gonna slap you really hard, isn't she? And slaps me right across the face. Oh. Kinda deserved. The sound of it cracks the air, shattering the silence like a fragile glass breaking. Despite the familiar rumble of thunder outside, it manages to ring louder above the storm. I don't even know what hit me until my head has already snapped back and my cheek stings with her anger. And it is anger. Because you could have died, man. She almost lost you. In spite of the stillness and the lack of words afterwards. Not fuming, though. Never fuming. But the kind that burns lightly and soundlessly. A frustration instead of a seething rage. One that ebbs just as quickly as it flows, and once the tide subsides, there's only that gleam in her eyes. Warm, steadfast, and unflinching. Man, even when she slaps you out of anger, you're like, she's so beautiful. Quietly, I brace myself for the truth underneath that gaze. It slips from her lips softly, nearly fading under the sound of the rain still falling fast, if not for the weight in each of her words.
What is wrong with you?
Belle.
If Zach didn't slip up, no one would have known where you went.
Yeah.
Belle, one person knowing is enough. Any more than that, and
You almost died.
Mm-hmm.
He could have suffocated you right then and there, and you could have died.
I told Zach to give me 4 hours. That would have been enough time to...
It would have been too late. And by the time anyone ever finds out, you're already fertilizer.
She trails off, drags one indrawn breath after another. A brief lull as her frustration finally gives, dissolves into something more pensive and somber. Her shoulders droop, and though her voice rises hoarse and weary, in her next words there's only certainty.
You count too, you know?
Aww.
When I said that night, when I told you that I don't want to lose anyone anymore, that includes you. Alive.
You dummy.
We're still here, Ash. You have us.
And once their meaning fall, roar. It does so not with force of a dam breaking or a raging storm, but with the gentle, steady warmth of a hearth burning, an ember easing slowly, lightly, rising and giving until all that's left is a truth, an understanding. Not alone. You don't have to die alone. Someone cares about you. Never alone. We interrupt this touching scene to bring you a journal entry. About it? Nice. Having recovered, Ashton quickly urged Isabella to move, knowing it wasn't safe to stay idle. Without warning, however, Isabella slapped him. Furious at him for keeping people in the dark, she reminded him of what was important. And with it came a realization about himself. It lingers, even as we both drift back into silence and her words take root. Because in the gratitude that swells after is another warmth blooming. Are you guys going to confess right now in a demon-infested attic with a knocked-out murder butler behind you? I mean, go for it if you want to. In case you both die here, why not? Just do it. Just do it, please, before I die. Pleasant, welcoming, like finding home. Like finding ourselves in the haze a squall has left, creating something fragile yet immutable in both of us. It's in her eyes, in the way she holds my gaze unwavering, in the way she carries herself despite sitting amidst a place she fears, in the way she keeps herself from trembling and falling apart, because fear is inconsequential when people she cares about are at risk. A change. She realizes that now, holds on to it. Another little thing. Another small thing from her that may go unnoticed and pass by quietly, but will eventually amount to a lot of things. Tiny gestures that mean nothing at first, but began to matter to me one day. Until... Oh! Despite myself, a small smile slips from my lips as the same warmth from earlier unfurls in my chest. Unhurried, familiar, and bright from all these years I've carried it, but have never given the words for it.
Stop smiling like that, Ashton. I'm not done scolding you.
But this time they come easy.
I heard all of it. Don't worry.
Are you really okay? That guy hit you a little too hard on the head. Here, let me...
I reach up just as she extends a hand towards my face, catching her wrist in a light grip, drawing it closer, and folding her hand in between mine. Although her expression does shift into mild confusion, she does not pull away like I'm expecting. She simply stares at me, searching. For her to allow a gesture from me that's perhaps too close, it tells a lot how far things have already shifted in the past few years. Let's talk about the past few days, man. Cradled in mine, her hand still trembles. Most of the tremors has already subsided by now, though I doubt it'll fade away this soon. Even as I trace the lines of her palm in what I hope is a comforting gesture.
I'm sorry, Belle.
For what? Is this about what happened tonight? You can apologize later, when...
No, well, this too, but it's not just about this.
It's about everything.
It's for a lot of things. For calling you clumsy.
Mm-hmm.
And careless.
Go on.
And a scatterbrain.
Mm-hmm.
Are you sure this isn't a concussion?
I love that it just keeps going. Don't interrupt, please.
You would think that, wouldn't you?
Well, you don't usually apologize.
Yeah, I know. I'm sorry about that too. For all the times I've teased you and made you cry.
Unexpectedly, her fingers tighten around mine, our hands falling between us as something tender shifts in air. Another exhale. Another drawn breath eases out of me, filled with every hesitation and uncertainties. But when I finally choose to break silence, it's only when I know that what will slip past my mouth is the one truth I will hold against the world.
But for all those callous words, despite all those, there's nothing that I don't love about you.
Aww.
In fact, those things, I love those. And everything. Everything that's you.
For a long moment, she offers no response. Her grip on my hands merely tightens. Although my heart's pounding hard against my ears, I take a chance and look up. Slightly leaning away and giving her a cautious glance, more than ready to hear her rejection. Instead, I find her on the brink of tears, with an almost unreadable expression on her face. When she notices my eyes on her, she hastily reaches up and wipes it with the back of her hands. It does not keep them from falling, and soon they trail down her cheeks despite her best attempts. To say this is panic shooting right up at the base of my throat is a complete understatement. This isn't how I've expected this to go. She's touched, man. It's okay.
Hey, Belle, did I say something wrong?
Why would you? I don't even have anything.
What?
What?
I don't have anything. I'm not rich. I live off instant noodles almost every day.
Aw, Belle.
I can't do anything properly without someone helping me. Except maybe if it's drawing, but that's beside the point.
I'm enjoying this too much.
I didn't even get to graduate, even if I was so close. I'm not even sure that scholarship will get me anywhere. And ever since I came here, in the 5 years you've known me, I've got us into all kinds of trouble. So why would you even say that? I'm not...
Maybe it's the moment itself that spurs me to it. The desperation. The fear of almost dying. That I've already said more than what I'll usually allow myself, and I might as well finish before I lose my nerve. No matter the reason, I reach out for her. Gently, so unlike the way she barged into our lives so many years ago. The way she came in would leave a terrible impression on anyone, really, and yet... it's people like her that you don't easily forget. It's them that gradually worms their way into a person's life until the very thought of losing them becomes unbearable. Isabella trails off once my palms brushes against her tear-stained cheeks, but she neither pulls away nor pushes my hands off. Rather, she looks at me wide-eyed with another searching look. I only have one answer for that. Smooches?
It doesn't matter. All of that is still you, and that's enough for me.
No promises. Only truths. Perhaps the most genuine thing I can offer her at the moment. We don't even know what will happen, or if we'll ever survive this. So instead of words, I lean in, our foreheads briefly touching. Before brushing my lips tenderly against hers, you better give me a picture of this. Yes! Yes! This is the weirdest place to do this, but I don't care. You guys are finally doing this. The kiss is nothing intimate by any means. It looks pretty intimate. There's a brief second once our lips touch when she tenses, unsure. A long moment of not knowing what to do with her hands until she settles them on me. Slipping it up my arm in a light grip, afraid, too afraid to make a mistake or hurt. But for now, it's enough. It's the closest we can come to it. Rather than give out empty promises or grand proclamations, we have this. Instead of words, my heart. Something she soon understands as her shoulders ease and she permits me to draw her closer, deepening the kiss. Softly and gently. A short second of simply allowing the world to melt away around us, and this to roar above anything else. Like every little thing between us that has built up to this one single point in time. A moment that becomes ours and ours alone. Something to hold close until all of this is over. Let's read about the smooches. This beautiful music. What an eventful evening. Understanding how much she also meant to him, Ashton took both of her hands in his and apologized. And in a rare moment of honesty, confessed what he truly felt for her. The one truth he would always hold against the world. So cute. We part later to the sounds of the world rushing back around us. Thunder, rain, and lightning, all to remind us both of a reality we have to face. By the way, shout out to Ghost Lady for letting the kiss and confession happen. I knew you were a romantic at heart. Enough to dampen the mood and force back the worry I've temporarily forgotten. Yet, when I glance back at Isabella, all she has for me is a small smile, bright and hopeful. And it is strength enough. One that I try to draw from when I rest my forehead against hers one last time before leading us both out, her hand in mine. Back into Deathsville. The stairs. Power still hasn't come back when we make our way downstairs. Tricky, considering the stairs to the attic are a bit old and squeaky. One misstep and anyone might end up slipping and falling. You're lucky if that's all that'll happen to you. With the stairs this steep, a broken neck is a likely outcome. Thankfully, Isabella's here to guide me through the darkness. She knows this place better than anyone, after all, in spite of all the misfortunes it has brought to us.
Careful, the floorboards over there aren't very sturdy.
Right on cue, the same board I'm stepping on creaks and suddenly breaks, the pieces falling somewhere with a dull thunk.
Oh, shit. Scumbag wouldn't be too happy about that. Ow, my foot.
See? I told you so. You never listen to me.
They renovated the whole mansion. They can't even replace one tiny part of the house.
Someone wants it to stay preserved, probably.
Why don't you file a complaint to BRC then? I'm sure they'd be thrilled to hear it. You know it was such a rush job.
Outside, the winds have intensified. Even from here, I can hear the gusts battering the window in the attic. It makes you wonder why up until now the only person we've encountered from this house is the butler. And what happened to Hana? Although to some degree that makes sense. He is in charge of running the place. Where are the other servants, though? In this storm, wouldn't anyone want to stay inside? A likely assumption is they're all asleep. The route I've taken doesn't really pass by the rooms they've likely assigned as the servants' quarters. However, they have also heightened security. I brushed it off earlier, thinking they'll be posted a lot closer to where the master's rooms are, but the second floor is devoid of anyone as well. As if every inhabitant of this place has suddenly disappeared overnight. More importantly, where's that scumbag? I don't like this. I don't like this at all. Got a bad feeling about this. The fact that we're here right in the fucking middle of it makes me all the more queasy. And that feeling only escalates once we reach the landing and Isabella swings the door open. She pauses abruptly right in the doorway that I almost run into her. A look of confusion's in her as she looks wildly around the place, wordlessly taking in her surroundings. Wait, didn't we come from the attic? We should have come out in the hallway upstairs, right? With each turn and shift of her eyes, her shoulder only grows tenser, and a look of apprehension slowly dawns on her.
Isabella, what are you...
We aren't supposed to be here.
Yeah. Sure enough, when I look up, we're standing right in the kitchen. Pots, pans, and all. In one corner, Zach and Rebecca watch as almost as surprised to see us. McCullough is also with them. Of course, she didn't listen to me, even if I've already exceeded the 15 minutes we've agreed on. Although, color and strength seems to have already returned to her, enough for her to be able to stand unassisted. The empty plate on the counter appears to have played a part on that. Good news, I guess. Zach, did you make her a ham? You doll. As for the other two, however, relieved as I am that they've had the sense to wait and not venture deeper into the mansion, I can't keep but roll my eyes at both of them.
Zach, I said 4 hours.
I know, but Isabella asked and... Come on, bro, you know I ain't a very good liar.
And it didn't even occur to you to stop her?
He came with.
We all tried, all right? She was out the door before we could say anything.
And how did you guys even get in here?
All three of them exchange a look. One that I absolutely don't like. In the end, it's Isabella who speaks up, albeit with a bit of hesitation.
We heard someone scream, Ash. It led us here.
Without warning, the door behind us slams shut.
We need to get out of here.
Yeah. Screw right. I need to get these people out of here. Lucky we're in the kitchen, and we have 2 ways out, the back door and the cellar offers. Except the hatch won't budge when I pull at it, and neither does the back door. As if something has locked it firmly on the other side. Well, there's a good thing there's a window that we can smash, right? Zach also gives it a few tries, but even with the big guy's strength, it won't open. There's a long bout of silence in which we all simply look at each other, likely sharing the same thoughts. We're trapped. Something or someone has intentionally led us here. Fuck. In that same moment, once realization dawns in, something shifts again. Blood. Let's read about the blood. Together, Ashton and Isabella carefully made their way downstairs. However, instead of a hallway, the kitchen greeted them instead. Before they could understand what was happening, it slammed shut behind them and the whole mansion had started to shift. In every nook and cranny, over every surface and in every inch of the floor. I mean, it's pretty clean in here, it's just kind of bloody fog. This time, unlike the first one I've seen, it remains, and gradually the whole room begins to reek of that familiar metallic scent. Sharp, suffocating. Oh no. Around us, every object, including the cupboards, have started to rattle as well. The sounds from outside, foreboding rumble of thunder, and even the howling winds have begun to fade away, replaced by whispers, shouts, and cries of pain. Though inaudible, each beat and note bombards every crevice my head with vague images and sounds. There's no time to make sense of everything, however. I'm already shouting, fueled purely by adrenaline, barking orders and making a break for the door that leads to the next room, the dining. It should take us straight to the foyer where the main door is.
Move! Run!
Right in front of us, the mansion has started to change and we're in the thick of it. However, instead of the dining room like it's supposed to open to... Okay, well that's not helpful. The bedroom welcomes us instead. An image that lasts only but a second before blood begins to seep into the room. Oh, that's unfortunate. Filtering into the walls, trickling from every nook and cranny. Everywhere, furniture shakes and every beam rattles. Before we can even step back from the horror gradually unfolding in front of us, the door slams shut. A loud thud, bringing a sense of dread and chill creeping up in each of us. Along with it is another realization. The whole place is reordering itself. And with the door closed tight behind us, showing no signs of budging, even through sheer force, there's no choice but to go forward and hope to all gods that it'll lead us to an exit. I mean, we could take the sheets off the bed, make a rope, and hang it off the balcony and get out of here. Curtains even, guys? Okay, or we'll go to the study. Until then, running's the only thing we can do, spurred by nothing but fear and a sense of desperation to live.
It's useless, Ashton Frey.
Does anybody else hear that? But with each room we pass, it only becomes apparent that the house has no intention of letting us leave. It lured all of us here, and we've fallen for it. Now it's playing a little game with us. A sordid form of amusement. For whom? Their laughters are the only thing we can hear. With every hall we cross and door we slide open, the hope of finding an exit merely dwindles. The gun at my hip is useless here. I am useless here. Some fucking genius I am. Some fucking person to trust I am. All of those, they mean nothing in the face of the unknown.
You finally figured it out. Huh, Ashton Frey. Just give it up. All of them will eventually die because of you.
And you are going to die alone.
Never alone.
Shut your fucking mouth.
You know it's true, though.
All of it. It's why all you can do is tell us to shut up. You don't want to hear a single word, because you're already aware of it. You can't even admit it to yourself. Who's the coward now?
I feel this conversation is going in circles.
But no matter how hard you try, you're not gonna be able to save anyone.
The more gruesome the place turns, the bleaker our chances simply get. Well, that's not good. Wails and screams fill our ears as we pass by, words from a time and people long gone, laced with nothing but pure agony, calling out, reaching out to us. Their voice is almost too real, as if we're not the only ones trapped here, that there are others begging for release from this wretched place. Or maybe it's all just a show, a taste of what we will eventually be, souls forever held captive in a never-ending nightmare.
Mother, I've done it, Mother. Take me with you, please. I can still hear her. She's here. Help me! Help me, please!
Is this what the curse is? What it means for all of us? That the letter is not a morbid cry for help, but an invitation? A beckoning for unsuspecting souls to be dragged into this place's horrors? To be put under centuries and centuries of torment and agony? Suddenly dying a painful death seems preferable. Enticing than ending up here, living a tortured existence. Or perhaps it's all the same. Still, hope worms its way into me. Not a usual thing for someone like me. But after going through countless doors and corridors, every little sign of hope I'm willing to cling to. As long as it'll get us out of here. We're back in the dining room again. How long have we been running? How long since we've left the kitchen? At some point I've lost track of time. With the windows barred tight and the sounds lifting in the air nothing but shouts and shrieks, it's impossible to tell. Not that it matters when an end is in sight. Okay. Shelves and furnishings bar the door, each stained with blood and gore, that if the situation isn't as desperate as it is, I'll find a different way out. But there's still a gap left at the topmost part for a person to get through, as long as you use the shelves to climb.
It's next it all right.
From here I can spy the familiar walls of the foyer. Relief. Only relief washes over me. Although my legs have been strained taut by all that running and every bone and muscle in my body ache, there's only an easing. A sense of tension relieving while energy back flows through me again at the sight of an end. No sooner I'm leading us out of it. Zach helps McCullough first, assisting her up and through the gap before giving a hand to both Rebecca and Isabella. The moment the ladies are in, I nod for him to go through.
Go ahead. I'll watch your back.
Surprisingly, he does that without any protests. Not that there is any need to. Sometime after entering this room, the whole place has calmed down. No wails, no whispers. Just a silence too deafening. But I'm not letting my guard down until everyone's on the other side of this nightmare safe. For all I know, this may just be a calm before another storm. Without further incident, however, Zach makes it to the other side and I'm following after him. However odd this hush is, I turn my back from it and climb up. It's a tight fit, but I manage to squeeze myself in. The unease remains, though. Maybe it's the adrenaline still coursing through me, or how easy everything has been after living through that nightmare, fleeting as it is. But for some reason, something's still nagging at me. Call it a detective's instinct, or my training, or whatnot. I have a feeling something's going to happen and catch us unprepared. Unconsciously, before dropping down on the better side of this dream, my hand shifts to the gun at my hip. Instinct has never failed me before. My feet haven't even landed firmly on the floor when I notice that this room isn't covered in blood.
Had I known there would be a party in my own home tonight, I would have opened a bloody bottle or two.
Oh boy, it's the man of the hour.
People these days, in my own home. Can you believe it? I feel so left out.
A chill seeps into every vein in my body. All of a sudden, every ache, every pain returns to me tenfold, and my knees threaten to buckle at the sound of his voice. Though it appears friendly, I know it is anything but. One does not spend investigating a man like him for over a year and holding a grudge against him for more without knowing everything about him. His quirks, his habits. I'm familiar with all of them. And right now, Luke fucking Wright is beyond pissed. Shifting my gaze upwards is nearly too painful knowing the danger. Not to me, but to those who have been lured in here by the curse. Clever man. The handgun catches my eyes first, next to that smarmy smile on his face, while he holds McCullough, Zach, Rebecca, and Isabella at gunpoint. Its sight enough to lodge a painful thorn up my throat. I've been too complacent. Too focused on other things that I've completely set aside the fact the scumbag will not be too pleased to see us here without knowing our reasons. But even with those, good intentions, curses, and ghostly apparitions aside, we're still trespassing in his home. The question is, if he's even aware that the whole of his household has somehow disappeared and he might be the only one here. Likely not. Fuck. Even with people he knows among the crowd, there's a significant effort in him not to simply shoot everyone in sight.
And really, Daisy, even you, what would Kylie say?
Luke, this isn't what you're thinking. You have to listen to us. There's something going on here.
Well, obviously, why else would people be trespassing in my home? What about little Lily over there, then? What's your excuse? Checking back if your clients are doing okay? Is that it? Is this what this is?
What's your obsession with plants?
Oh, we're doing good, by the way.
By the way?
Sir, please.
Oh, please, what?
Becca's right, sir. We need to get out of this place. You need to leave.
Tut, not a good enough excuse, darling. You people are the ones who need to get out of my sight.
Okay, we'll do that. Just let us get to the door.
Don't worry. I might consider pressing lighter charges for the woman.
How chivalrous.
Can't say the same for the rest of you. But really now, I swear the people of this city need to be taught the meaning of privacy. This is how you want to start the week. Why don't we just go with a bloody massacre if we want to surprise people in their homes, huh?
Casually, he waves the handgun at them as if it's just a mere toy and his words are no threat. The safety's off on his, nothing stopping him from pushing through with his words. Call me paranoid, but at the slight gesture I draw my own and level it at him, finger on the trigger and ready to release the safety catch in case things go south. Oh boy, these two are off for a duel. After a long, desperate run in search of a way out, the house calmed down for some reason. An exit was finally in sight. Waiting on the other side, however, is this boy. He is quick to train his own on me, though, and just like that, we're at a standstill.
Now, Feathers. Manners.
Feathers.
You're in no position to be pointing that gun at people.
Why don't you put yours down first, and then we'll talk about manners.
Oh, he talks back. The gall! You know, your kind pisses me off so much.
Your kind? Shooting him right now will be so worth it, with the way he stares at me like I'm a damn pest. But this isn't what I've come here for. I'm not a murderer. As much as I loathe him, I'm not the kind who will kill people in cold blood for my own gain or amusement. The law will bring him what he deserves one of these days. At the moment, however. We're all in the same boat with this curse, and he needs to understand that. The longer we stand here, the more time we're wasting and losing. Something we don't have much of. But how can I convince him? This scum is so full of himself, prefers to hear the sound of his own voice more than those of the people around him, no matter how much sense they make. Probably the only way I can make him listen is if I beg. No way in hell that's happening. Maybe I should eliminate the immediate danger first and disarm him? You literally just said to... You know everything about this guy. You're obsessed with this guy. You know the only way he's going to listen is if you beg. I feel like if you disarm him and hurt him, the ghost is going to come and rip you to pieces because you harmed her prince. My life's not the only one at risk here, however. There's Zach. There's Rebecca. There's Isabella. McCullough's here as well. We're all unknowing victims to this fucking curse. I'm in no position to pick who to save and who I should simply let die. I suppose my pride can take a few hits, and I can set aside my beef with this asshole. Taking a deep breath, slowly I lower my pistol. Though still on the edge and at ready in case he does something, I do my best to assume a less aggressive stance.
Listen, right. I need you to...
Swallow your pride.
You broke into my house, and somehow, you expect me to listen like a good little boy.
Yes.
Are you a bit touched in the head, Feathers? I'm not the one breaking laws here.
Look here, fucker. If I wanted you dead, I could have done it so many times already.
I like that this is Ash's version of begging someone to listen. Please continue.
In fact, I can easily shoot you down right here, right now.
Nailing it.
And you won't be able to do a damn thing, even with that gun.
Suddenly, he laughs. Almost howling, in fact. Like I've just told him the best joke he's heard all his life. The only thing missing is for him to keel over and start rolling around the floor. All while I do my best not to sock him with the sorry end of my pistol.
You have guts, Feathers. You have guts. Did you hear what you just told me? You've just threatened me inside my own house. My own home. You know what I'm thinking right now? In another lifetime, we would have probably gotten along well.
Oh my gosh. That's what you're thinking of right now? He's right on that at least. Sure. In another life, you guys would have, been at the pub right now. I'm sure. I might have ended up like him if I didn't have Professor Andrew, Rebecca, Zach, and Isabella. One mistake and it would have been too late for me. With his laughter rings all of those possibilities I could have lived, but have never been given the choice. All because I have other people with me. People who care. A sobering realization. But not so much when suddenly his chuckling stops. In 2 heartbeats, he marches towards me, grabs my collar, and aims his gun right at my head.
Ashton!
Uh-oh. Have I made an error?
Luke, no!
Hey, now you two, I'm sure we can all talk about this first.
All these story updates. At this distance, a slight flick of that finger on the trigger will be able to do more than kill me.
What is it that you people really want with me? This is the second time this week, and I'm really getting weary of this little game.
Second time?
Did the NCA send you to apprehend me, or has somebody paid you off to kill me? Which one is it, Feathers? Mind you, my arm's getting tired. Better answer quick if you don't want to beat the business end of this gun.
I keep my eyes trained on him, in spite of the huge threat he poses right now. Because if there's anything people like him, like us, prefer, it's honesty. You don't give that impression without keeping a solid eye contact.
I'm not with NCA. I'm just here to help. There's something else in this house, and we're all in danger. You have to believe me, right? You need to let us go. You need to get out of here before it's too late. If you want to keep your sorry ass alive, you'll listen to people with more brain cells than you.
And there's Ash again.
Why, you insolent!
His finger moves, but I am prepared, my hand ready to reach up, disarm him, and knock him out. If I have to drag him out of this place unconscious to keep him from suffering the fates of every other person who has died from this curse, so be it. However, before either of us can fire a shot or tackle the other to the ground, another voice echoes throughout the foyer. A small little thing compared to the storm raging outside. It rings above it, nevertheless, causing all of us to stop and turn. Oh. Uh-oh. Well, we found Hana. At the top of the staircase, Hana Wright stands. To make matters worse, that thing's behind her, menacing, a rotting hand wrapped firmly around her neck. She looks like death. Pale and shaky, eyes red with tears, we nearly don't hear her as she pleads.
Luke, help me. Please.
Oy. Outside, another streak of lightning flashes and a clap of thunder ripples across the sky. In Death's grip. As if this whole thing can't get any more foobar than it already is. Why do I feel like this is how it's going to end? In spite of the danger Luke Wright posed at the moment, Ashton lowered his gun and assumed an imploring tone towards the man he hated. Amidst the tensed air, a voice suddenly echoed in the foyer. There at the top of the grand staircase stood Hannah Wright. And a ghost friend. Yep, that was it. A glimmer of hope. Oh boy. With a whole bunch of candles. Interesting. Okay. We're done with Ash. Next time, we pick up with Luke. See you then, guys.